instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. So once again, welcome to today's call and thank you very much for joining us. Moving on to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. I will let all the devotees on the call to please go ahead with your introductions now.
हरे कृष्ण लक्ष्मी माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीति दासी प्रभुपाद हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and to all the assembled devotees. This is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga, and all assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yeshomati Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaji. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Dallas.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Padma Sakhi Devidasi from Tampa, Florida.
Hare Krishna, Padma Sakhi Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Do you
Hare
have any
Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shyamagari Devidasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Sham Gauri Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devidasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Hindu Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
I think Prabhuji had joined already.
So that, yeah. Let's start recording. So, Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are extremely fortunate to have His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhuji here with us today. And Prabhuji would be enlightening us by discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1 and verse 49. Hare Krishna, Balaram Shakti Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for your valuable time and association this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Without further ado, I would like to request you to please take over from here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity to share Srimad Bhagavatam with all of you. It's always quite inspiring and encouraging to share Krishna in this particular group. So we'll start. Today we are going to discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th Canto, 1st chapter, 49th verse. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much. So Just give me a second. Okay. So today we'll be discussing from this 49th verse of first chapter of 6th canto. I'll read the verse, Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. And then, as I mentioned last time, we will continue our discussion from where we had left off last time. So, if you remember, some of you might remember, some of you might not remember, some of you may not have joined the previous session. So I'll do a recap for sure. So, anyways, so I'll read the verse and the translation. So this is actually the Yamadutas are speaking to Vishnudutas because the Vishnudutas asked the Yamadutas, okay, if you are the followers of Yamaraj and you know what is dharma, then can you please share what is dharma and how is adharma evaluated? Who evaluates adharma when it is committed? How is this punishment bestowed and all that? So in response to this, this is the Yamaduta speaking. I'm not going to do a overview of what has happened till now in this chapter that I'm sure the other speakers would have done. So I'll just save that time for discuss what we left off in between the last time I spoke. यथाज्ञस्तमसा युक्त उपास्ते व्यक्तमिहि न वेद पूर्वमपरं नष्ट जन्म स्मृतिस्तथा. Srila Prabhupada's translation: as a sleeping person acts according to the body manifested in his dreams and accepts it to be himself, so one identifies with his present body, which he acquired because of his past religious or irreligious action, and is unable to know his past or future lives. So how the conditioned souls in this living entity, in this material world, they cannot figure out what lives they had before and what lives they would get in future, even though one can guess from one's actions and inclinations in this particular birth. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada says, a man engages in sinful activities because he does not know what he did in his past life to get his present materially conditioned body, which is subjected to the threefold miseries. As stated by Rishabhadev in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4, Noonam pramattaha kurute vikarma. A human being who is mad after sense gratification does not hesitate to act sinfully. Yet indriya pritaya apranoti. He performs sinful actions simply for sense gratification. Na sadhu. This is not good. Yata atmanoyam asannapi kleshada asadehaha. Because of such sinful actions, one receives another body in which to suffer as he is suffering in his present body because of his past sinful activities. It should be understood that a person who does not have Vedic knowledge always acts in ignorance of what he has done in the past, what he is doing at the present, and how he will suffer in the future. He is completely in dark. So basically, they are indirectly explaining this is how Ajamila had acted, and therefore he is fit to be punished. So that's what is being described here by, they are very clearly developing a rationale behind their taking Ajamila to hell. Why we are perfectly justified in taking Ajamila to hell, right? So that is being described here by the Yamadutas. Therefore, the Vedic injunction is tamasi ma. do not remain in darkness. Jyotirgama, try to go to the light. The light or illumination is Vedic knowledge, which one can understand when he is elevated to the mode of goodness, or when he transcends the mode of goodness by engaging in devotional service to the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. So this is not understood by the Yamadutas. They don't understand the glories of, they didn't apparently know the glories of devotional service, which apparently Ajamila was performing. So this is described in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.23. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata gurau tasyaite katitav hyartah prakashante mahatmanah. And to those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of the Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. The Vedas enjoin tad vijnanartam sagurum eva vigachet. One must approach a spiritual master who has full knowledge of the Vedas and be faithfully directed by him in order to become a devotee of the Lord. Then the knowledge of the Vedas will be revealed. When the Vedic knowledge is revealed, one need no longer remain in the darkness of material nature. According to his association with the material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, a living entity gets a particular type of body. That's what the Yamadutas are indicating here. The example of one who associates with the mode of goodness is a qualified Brahmana. Such a Brahmana knows past, present, and future because he consults the Vedic literature and sees through the eyes of the Shastra. He can understand what his past life was, why he is in the present body, and how he can obtain liberation from the clutches of Maya and not another material body. This is all possible when one is situated in the mode of goodness. Generally, however, the living entities are engrossed in the modes of passion and ignorance. In any case, one receives an inferior or superior body at the decision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature, because the Paramatma feature is, he bestows appropriate destinations according to one's karma and swabhava, right? As stated in the previous verse, Manasaiva pure devaha purva rupam vipashyati anumimamsate apurvam manasa bhagavan ajaha. Everything depends on ajaha, the unborn. Why doesn't one please Bhagavan to receive a better body? So this is the question. Prabhupada says, why shouldn't one please the Supreme Lord to receive a better body? Answer is Agnyas Tamasa, because of gross ignorance. One who is in complete darkness cannot know what his past life was or what his next life will be. He is simply interested in his present body. Even though he has a human body, a person in the mode of ignorance and interested only in his body is like an animal. For an animal, being covered by ignorance, thinks that the ultimate goal of life and happiness is to eat as much as possible. A human being must be educated to understand his past life and how he can endeavor for a better life in the future. There is even a book called Bhrigu Samhita, which reveals information about one's past, present, and future lives according to astrological calculations. Somehow or other, one must be enlightened about his past, present, and future. That's why the scriptures are there. They indicate, what action leads to what destination, like that. One who is interested only in his present body and who tries to enjoy his senses to the fullest extent is understood to be engrossed in the mode of ignorance. His future is very, very dark. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasa Jaganya Guna Vrittista Ado Gachanti Tamasa, as Bhagavad Gita describes, that for one who is predominantly in mode of goodness and acts in mode of goodness, his destination is in the higher planets. One who is predominantly acting in the mode of passion, he remains in the middle planetary systems. And one who is engaged in predominantly in Tamogun, he goes to the lower planetary systems, like that. Indeed, the future is always dark for one who is grossly covered by ignorance. Especially in this age, human society is covered by the most ignorance, and therefore everyone thinks his present body to be everything without consideration of past or future. So this is the purport, and I apologize beforehand. I will neither be speaking directly from the verse or the purport, but I'll be speaking on this theme of Ajamil. How do we understand the episode of Ajamil? So we had started discussing this theme from a particular commentary of Srila Chakravarti Thakur. We could cover only half of it last time. So we will cover the rest of the half today. So the theme that we were discussing was resolving the mystery of Ajamila. So that mystery is resolved in this particular commentary to this verse, which will come in the next chapter. This is spoken by the Vishnu Dutas to Yamadutas. Stenaha Surapo Mitra Drug Brahmaha Gurutalpaga Stri Raja Pitru Gohanta Yecha Patakino Pare Sarvesham api Agavatam Idam Eva Sunishkritam Nama Vyaharanam Vishnor Yatastad Vishayamatihi. This is that verse where the Vishnu Dutas say that however grave a sinner a particular person may be, if he takes to chanting the holy name of the Lord, all the sins are completely destroyed. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons attract the attention of the Supreme Lord. That's what verse says. And there is a very powerful landmark commentary that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes to this particular verse, which Srila Prabhupada condenses and presents it in the form of a appendix to the chapter. At the end of this particular chapter, if you see in the 6th chapter, Prabhupada attaches an appendix and he says, and he summarizes the you can say the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Generally, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary is very small. Srila Prabhupada's commentary is very long. And for example, for this particular verse that we were reading, Prabhupada wrote such a long commentary, such a long purport. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes no purport to this. If my memory is right, there is no purport to this verse. So there is no elaboration. But for this particular verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes such a long purport. I will do a quick recap of what we have covered till now, and then we will take this discussion forward. So we have been seeing this particular commentary in the form of question answer like that, because that's how the verse itself is, the commentary itself is written. So we saw the case of Ajamil, and here they are describing the glories of holy name, that whatever grave sin may be there, Stenaha, Surapo, Mitradrug, Brahmaha, the killer of a Brahmana, Guru Talpaga, one who violates the wife of his own Guru, Sri Raja Pitru Gohanta, one who may kill women, the king, one's own father, or a cow, all of them, just by chanting the holy name, they can be, the sins will be eradicated. Now the question is, how is it possible? Someone may ask that, there are 12-year vows, in the Prayaschitta, in the Karmakandiya Prayaschitta, sometimes for a very grave sin, it takes 12 years to atone for that one particular sin because it's such a grave sin. Okay, 12 years of atonement. But he says that for the kind of sins that Ajamil has committed, it will take thousands of 12-year vows. How can just chanting, and that too Ajamil's chanting is said to be Namabas chanting. How can that destroy grave sins? So in response to this, if you remember, it is Srila Vishwanath Thakur writes that this chanting is the complete atonement because it destroys the root of the sin. We saw the root of the sin is sinful desire. The root of sinful desire are sinful vasanas, and the root of vasanas is a person having turned his face away from Krishna. So the process of bhakti, and of which the primary limb is chanting the holy name, destroys the root cause of the sin. Not only does it destroy the prarabdha karma, it destroys the sinful desire, the sinful impressions, and the root cause of even the sinful impressions, which is one's inimical nature towards Krishna. His Krishna Bahirmukh nature is also addressed by the chanting of the holy name. So, an atonement may destroy the prarabdha karma, but an atonement has no ability to address the root cause of sin. Even sinful desires cannot be destroyed by atonement. So most importantly, the holy name makes the jiva krishnonmukh, and not only that, the holy name makes Krishna jivonmukh. Yatastad vishaya matihi means as soon as one chants the holy name of the Lord starts thinking about that person. The Lord thinks, oh, this person belongs to me. I will always protect him, which means the Lord becomes favorably disposed towards that particular living entity. Okay, so therefore, he says that. So therefore, he says that the first time Ajamil chanted the name, the first time only destroyed all his sins. Subsequent chanting only produced bhakti. So the first time he chanted, it destroyed all his sins, and subsequent chanting only produced bhakti in Ajamil. That is the understanding. Okay. So, but then the next question comes: if but Ajamil, even after first chanting the name Narayan of his son, he continued to commit sinful activities. It is very clearly seen, right? He still continued to live with the prostitute. He still continued with his nefarious means. So my understanding is that whatever previous sins he had committed, that got destroyed by the first chanting of the holy name. And then subsequently, whatever sins he committed, every next time he chanted the holy name, that got destroyed. And at the time of his death, all the later sins that he had committed, when he chanted the holy name, that got destroyed. Is this understanding right? Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, no, this is not true. Because it is later mentioned, Vaikunta Nama Grahanam Asheshaga Haram Viduhu. Chanting the holy name of the Lord destroys unlimited sins. So someone may say, okay, unlimited past sins. But for the sins that is now committed, later you have to chant the holy name to destroy the sinful reactions, right? He says, no. So he quotes this verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Vartamanam cha yat papam yad bhutam yad bhavishyati tat sarvam nirdahati ashu govinda anala kirtana. All the sins which are performed in the past, all the sins that are performed in the present, and all the sins that will be performed in the future all of that is destroyed by chanting the holy name. Therefore, one should not say that the last chanting of the holy name that Ajamil did, that only destroyed the sins of the reactions for the sins of all that Ajamil performed later. This is not true. He says the very first time he chanted the name of Lord Narayana, all the sins were destroyed. Future sins also got destroyed. Okay, and then he gives so many verses to substantiate this point. We have already seen these, so I am not going through these verses. Okay, so therefore he says, in conclusion, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says here that because there is no mention of a particular time span for the effect to occur, it should be understood that by the first chanting, there is destruction of all sins, all desires, as well as ignorance. Everything is destroyed. So this is the understanding that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives. But then the question arises, okay, I will accept what you say, but you have to explain. If you say that by the chanting, by first chanting only, sinful reactions got destroyed, sinful desires got destroyed, ignorance got destroyed. Come on. Sin did not leave Ajamil even after he called his son Narayana. He continued to be attached to that woman. He continued to sin. How can you say that by the first chanting of the holy name, all sins are destroyed, all desires are destroyed, and all ignorance is destroyed? This makes no sense. So in response, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, look, even though someone, a Jivan Mukta, someone may be Jivan Mukta, but still you can say the inertia of conditional life, even though the Jivan Mukta may have reached the stage of liberation, but still for some time the inertia of conditional life will force him to act in particular ways, even though he clearly knows that he does not want to act in that particular way. Similarly, even for devotees, even after taking up to devotional service and chanting the holy name, the inertia of conditional life will take them, will push them to commit some forbidden activities for some time. But then he says, for that devotee, that commission of those kind of sins are compared to the bites of a toothless snake. It will not generate any result, which means it will not generate any karma. The subsequent birth of the devotee, for ordinary people, whatever actions they perform, karma is accumulated, and that decides the next birth of ordinary people. But for devotees who have accepted the path of devotional service, even though they may sometimes engage in some unfavorable activities, that will not generate any karma, and that will not determine his future birth. The future birth of a devotee is determined by Krishna only. So therefore he says that, as Prabhupada says, after you switch off the fan will immediately stop. The inertia of motion will allow the fan to rotate for a while before it stops. Similarly, for a devotee also, that will stop after a while. This is one explanation. Okay, the inertia of conditioning will continue for a while for the devotee also, and also it is very clearly described in Madhurya Dambini that anartha nivritti is little gradual. There are 5 stages of anartha nivritti: ekadesha vartini, bahudesha vartini, prayiki, purna, atyantiki. There are 5 stages of anartha nivritti. So the conditioning, the fan will stop, will keep running for, it can keep running for a few years also, or a few decades also, right? So that is fine, but that will not generate karma. That will not determine his future birth. That will not determine his future suffering. Okay. This is one explanation why sinful tendencies may be seen in devotees even after they take up the practice of bhakti. And the second explanation, point to be noted very clearly. The second explanation is that the Lord himself can sometimes allow the continuation of sin in sincere devotees so that other philosophies like karma kanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, these literatures will not be completely destroyed, because only one who has qualification for bhakti will practice bhakti. For others, they have to practice Vedic paths which may be inferior to bhakti. Okay, so therefore externally Krishna allows sinful inclinations, sinful tendencies, sinful actions to continue in devotees so that these other philosophies are not given up prematurely, because people without qualification will take up to bhakti. Okay, if they see that suddenly as soon as one chants holy name once, immediately if every sinful reaction is stopped, then they will say, oh, this seems very easy, why should I perform the difficult path of karma kanda, karma yoga? I will chant the holy name. But it will not work for them, because they are not doing it with the right intention. So when the holy name will work, we are going to see that later. We have already seen it. I'm going to recap it very soon. So therefore, this is the explanation. So the first explanation is the inertia of conditioning will carry that person to some time. That's why Ajamil was living like that. But that will not generate any karmic reaction for a devotee. Second thing, that in order that the other lower philosophies don't get completely uprooted, Krishna himself allows the continuation of sin in sincere devotee for a while. But someone may say there could be a third explanation for this. What is the third explanation? The glories of the holy name which are described in the Shastras are an exaggeration. It is not as glorious. It is definitely glorious, but it is not as glorious as it is projected in the Shastras. Because if the Shastras don't glorify so much, then people not take it very seriously. So therefore, the Shastras tend to over glorify the holy name. This is the explanation. That is why the kind of promise that the Shastras, that the holy name gives, that promise is not delivered. I have been chanting for so many years, 16 rounds. I don't see the result. So therefore, the glorification of the holy name as given in the scriptures must be an exaggeration. So he says this is a serious offense. This is called as artavad. Tatartavado harinamni kalpanam. This is a serious offense, and if one commits this offense, then he will certainly go to hell. And there are many verses that are quoted to establish this point. So many verses from Padma Puran, Katyayana Samhita, and Jaimini Samhita. It very clearly says that such people will go to hell. Okay, so therefore one should not interpret the holy name. One should not indulge in interpreting the holy name in this way. And moreover, he gives the example of Parikshit Maharaj. When Shukadev Goswami, when Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukadev Goswami, how can these people going to hell be protected? Shukadev Goswami said, oh, Prayaschitta, the Karmakandiya Prayaschitta, if they engage in Karmakandiya Prayaschitta, for every sin, there is an atonement given. If they perform that atonement, they can. Parikshit Maharaj says, really? This sounds very odd to me. Because in my observation, Kvachin Nivartate Abadda Kvachit Charati Tat Punaha Prayaschittam Ato Apartam Manye Kunjara Shauchavat. He says that I have seen that people who take up to this karma kanda, they perform atonement, and for some time they don't commit the forbidden activity, but after some time they are seen commit same forbidden activity. So therefore, I reject this path of karma kanda because it is just like an elephant taking bath. An elephant takes bath, comes out again, puts dust all over its body and becomes dirty. So I reject karma kanda for this, because the sinful tendency doesn't seem to go away. They sometimes refrain from sinful activities, but again they end up committing the same activity. But few verses down the line, when Shukadeva Goswami suggested bhakti, Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agham dunvanti katsnena niharam eva bhaskaraha. When he suggests this, Parikshit Maharaj does not reject it. Even though, even in devotees for a long time, this tendency remains. Parikshit Maharaj knows, observed it. Even devotees sometimes refrain from committing unfavorable activity, but after some time they succumb to the same activity. So if Parikshit Maharaj rejected karma kanda, atonement for that reason, he should reject bhakti also. But interestingly, Parikshit Maharaj does not reject bhakti. Okay, so he says that he has condemned atonements because of seeing the tendency of sin remains, but he does not criticize bhakti, even though seeing sinful tendencies in some of the devotees. And he says, and Ajamil, a sinner, by the strength of Namabhas, attained Vaikuntha. But the Smartas and others, even though knowing scriptures and even though chanting the holy name, they continue in this frightful samsara because of interpreting the holy name. Ajamil chanted the holy name, but Ajamil did not commit the offense of interpreting the holy name. He did not do this arthavad. He did not interpret the holy name. He did not that the chanting of the holy name should be an exaggeration. The glories of the holy name are an exaggeration. So even though he was just chanting Namabhas. Okay. So in this context, I just want to quickly touch this topic. I had promised last time that I will touch this topic of this Namas, because this is a very tricky topic, because we hear that Ajamil, right from the first time he chanted, it was Namabhas. Right? And we have been chanting for so many years, and we are told that, oh, you should aspire for Namabhas. Don't chant Aparadhanam. So this is very strange. I am worshipping the Supreme Lord. I am honoring the devotees. I am very sincerely sitting and 2 hours chanting the holy name, 16 rounds, sometimes more. On Ekadashi, I am chanting 64 rounds or more. I am told that you should aspire for Namabhas, and Ajamil did not even call the Supreme Lord. He called his son Narayan, and that chanting is Namabhas. What is this? This seems very strange. How could Ajamil, who was living, and see Ajamil's lifestyle and see my lifestyle. Ajamil was performing all kind of abominable activities, and his chanting is Namabhas. I am trying to live a very devotional life, chanting for the pleasure of Krishna, and my chanting is Aparadhanam. This seems very, strange. How is it possible? So we will just try to understand what is this Namabhas. Okay. So this is a slight detour. I will just 5 minutes talk on this topic, just so that the doubt is cleared. So the holy name can be either chanted with aparad. Okay, there is aparad nam, or there is namabhas, or there is the third, which is shuddhanam. Then there is bhavanam. Then there is premanam. Okay, we will see what it is. So aparad nam, we all are committing. It is said that we commit nam aparad. We hear the 10 types of aparad. But even this aparad nam is of two types. Okay. First thing is aparad, which is committed by the atheists and Mayavadis, and aparad which devotees perform, the sadhakas. Okay. The sadhakas also commit offenses. So these two types of offenses are different. Okay. So the aparad which is committed by the atheists and Mayavadis, this is committed due to malicious nature towards Krishna. So they have a malicious nature towards Krishna, and such chant by such kind of offense, they go to hell only, even though they may sometimes criticize the people who are chanting the holy name, and by that they may chant the holy name also. So by this kind of aparad, they go to hell only. Okay. But what is the kind of aparad that we commit? Sadhakas commit these offenses because of carelessness sometimes, and sometimes due to incomplete sambandha jnana also they may commit this offense. Okay. But they will definitely, as soon as people spend some time, learn about the nature of these offenses, they will be definitely willing to rectify the offense. So as long as that mood to rectify the offenses is there, if offenses are avoided, they achieve what is called as chaya namabhas. We will see what it is. So this is aparad nam, and there are two types of aparad nam. One that is committed by the atheists and Mayavadis, and second that is committed by the devotees, sadhakas. Now, namabhas is even more complicated. So namabhas has two types. So abhas means shadow, and abhas means shadow. Just remember it. We will see there are two sort of connotations of the word shadow. So there are two types of namabhas. One is called as Shraddha namabhas. Another is called as Ashraddha namabhas. So Shraddha namabhas means where the person who is chanting the holy name has faith in the holy name. Okay. So therefore we do have faith in the holy name. So if at all we come to the stage of namabhas, we will come to the stage of Shraddha namabhas. But in the case of Ajamil did not have faith in the holy name. So his chanting is considered to be Ashraddha namabhas. So why is it namabhas? If sometimes, so then the question arises that if someone does not have faith in the holy name and chants the holy name, is that Ashraddha namabhas? Not necessarily. Okay. Ashraddha namabhas means he may not have faith, but he should not have offenses also. No offenses. If somehow or other, even without knowing what the offenses are, if he is avoiding all the offenses, then such a person can chant Ashraddha namabhas. Otherwise, many times people think, Arey, if only I had not become a devotee, if only I had not known the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, if only I had not learnt about these offenses, I would not have committed any offenses. This is wrong understanding. This is not true. Offenses act irrespective of whether you have understood the offenses or not. So therefore, if someone, so Ajamil's case is not that he did not know the glories of the holy name, just like that he called his son Narayana and he went to Vaikuntha. This is not true. Behind Ajamil's case is a history of no offenses. That is the reality. Okay. So that is how his chanting became Ashraddha namabhas. So anyways, so this Ashraddha namabhas is there and Shraddha namabhas is there. So Shraddha namabhas means what? When the person who was okay, and even Shraddha namabhas, where the person has faith in the holy name, it has two types. One is called as Chaya namabhas, another is called as Pratibimba namabhas. Okay. Chaya means where the person's faith is pure. Where the person's faith is pure. So when the sadhaka, if he is committing, if he is unable to give up all the nama aparad, and eventually when he learns about, oh, this is one nama aparad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, later 10 nama aparads, including the 11th nama aparad of inattentive chanting, when he hears, and when he diligently tries to avoid the 10 offenses in his life, then he reaches the stage of chaya nama bhas. Okay. So where his faith is pure, and such people, they eventually achieve Shuddha Nam. Okay. So, and the second type of Shraddha Namabhas is people have faith in the holy name, but they think that the holy name is for attaining some liberation or something like that. So if their faith is mixed with karma, jnana, or yoga, karma mishra bhakti or jnana mishra bhakti or yoga mishra bhakti, where they have faith in the holy name, but that faith is actually not straight faith, it is a distorted faith. So with that distorted faith, when one chants the holy name, then they will not achieve prema, they will not achieve Shuddhanam also, rather they will achieve they can go up to Vaikunta, but they will not achieve prema. They may achieve Salokya Mukti or Shantarati, but they will not attain prema. So in this way, there are two types of Shraddha Namabhas. Okay, but we devotees, we are aspiring after Chaya Namabhas. Okay, and this Ashraddha Namabhas is of four types: Sanketyam, Parihasyam va, Stobam, Helanam va, Vaikunta Nama Grahanam, Asheshagaharam Viduhu. This will come later in the second chapter of sixth canto. So therefore, such people, this Ashraddha Namabhas, it may at the most lead to liberation. They may achieve liberation by that. And subsequently, when someone perfects Chaya Namabhas, he can come to Shuddhanam, and then Bhavanam and Premanam. At the stage of Bhava, the holy name that is chanted is called as Bhavanam. At the stage of Prema, it is called as Premanam. Which means this Namabhas stage is attained quite early, actually. This Namabhas stage is attained quite early. Even while we are sadhakas only, we attain this Namabhas stage, but little later. Okay. So to sort of summarize, so the path of a practicing devotee, if you see here, this is the path. You follow the red arrow. Okay. So the person practices the second, even when he is committing offenses, he is committing the second kind of offense, which is sometimes because of carelessness or sometimes due to incomplete Sambandha Gyan, which when rectified leads to Chaya Namabhas. Okay. And the Chaya Namabhas eventually leads to Shuddhanam. Okay. And the Shuddhanam eventually leads to Bhavanam. And Bhavanam leads to Premanam. And that Prema leads to manifestation of a relationship with Krishna in one of the 5 rasas. So therefore we say, hey, how is it that I am chanting very sincerely? I am chanting Aparad Nam, but Ajamil chanted Namabhas. So Ajamil's Namabhas is different. We are not aspiring after that Namabhas at all. That is Ashraddha Namabhas. Okay. So one should understand that. Anyway, this is just a clarification that I wanted to give. Okay. So, okay. So now, anyways, we were discussing this thing, right? That one should not think that the holy name's glories are exaggerated. So then the next question that arises is, okay, if holy name is so powerful that it can immediately destroy all the sins and bestow liberation, then practically so many people should be going back home, back to Godhead and returning back. Is that true? So our people should immediately become liberated by seeing such a power of the holy name. So, so in response, in answering to this, he says, yes, it is true that sin is completely uprooted by chanting the name once. But in most cases, the holy name chooses to bestow fruits only after some time. Immediately, the fruits of the holy name is not bestowed. Okay. So, and in, so that, you know, the material scriptures such as the Karma Kanda scriptures and all are not completely destroyed. But after doing this, the holy name takes responsibility of that sadhaka, especially if he has avoided offense. Okay, if he has avoided offense, even though the holy name may sometimes allow him to, not give up his sinful inclinations, but after some time, the holy name takes that person to the Lord's abode. This conclusion should be understood. So then the next question, okay, I understand that to consider the glories of the holy name to be an exaggeration is an offense and I will go to hell. I will not consider the glories of the holy name to be an exaggeration. The holy name is very powerful. I accept. So my question is, there is a karma yogi, there is a jnana yogi, there is an ashtanga yogi, there is a bhakti yogi. All of them chant the holy name. Okay. So all of them should attain liberation, right? By chanting the holy name. Because you said that and even if they may slip and commit a sinful activity, they should not go to hell. Or if you say that the holy name is not so powerful, then irrespective of whether it is a karma yogi or a jnana yogi or an ashtanga yogi or bhakti yogi, all of them should go to hell if they commit sins. So in response to this, Srila Vishnu Jagadagur says, look, come on, the holy name is a person. The holy name is not an ATM machine. He says, the holy name is a person. So he says that the holy name is like a very rich merchant and he has many servants serving under him. And the rich merchant is capable of fully giving shelter to all these servants. But he may choose not to give shelter to a servant if he sees some offensive tendencies in that person. So therefore, the holy name, being a person, is not obliged to respond, even though he is capable of responding, right? So especially when he sees offensive tendency in that person, he will not respond. But gradually, when the person starts giving up that offensive tendency, just like the merchant may start reciprocating more and more with that person, similarly, the holy name will also reciprocate. Okay. So, and especially in the case of this karma yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogis, they can never avoid offenses completely. Why? Because they will accept the karma shastras or jnana shastras or the yoga shastras, which actually put bhakti and the holy name on a secondary pedestal and karma, jnana and yoga on a higher pedestal. So therefore, the eighth offense of considering the holy name to be on the same level as a pious activity cannot be avoided by any of these people. So these people can never avoid offenses to the holy name. So therefore, the holy name does not give them Krishna Prem. And the holy name does not protect them from going to hell also, if they commit sinful activities. If they don't commit sinful activities, they will not go to hell. But if they commit sinful activities, they will hell, because they are not avoiding the offenses. Okay. And they don't have full faith in the holy name. Okay. So, and they are relegating the holy name to an inferior position, even inferior than karma, jnana and yoga. So, but still, the holy name being merciful will allow them to attain the goal of karma, jnana and yoga. If they want to attain swarga, they will attain. If they want to attain liberation, they will attain. They will not attain Krishna prema. That they will not attain because of this offense. Okay, like that. So this is what we saw. However, we saw that Vaishnavas do not perform atonements. And he says even atonements, the Karmakandi atonements should have the element of bhakti, and it should not have offenses. So if one is not a devotee, he cannot escape offenses. If someone is a Karmakandi, if he performs his Karmakandi practices and he wants to go to Swarga, if he offends a devotee, will he go to Swarga? The answer is no. So therefore, it is a very big misconception when people think that, oh, I made a mistake. If only I had not become a devotee, I would have, this problem of offenses, aparad, will not get behind me. This is not true. Even if one is a karma yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi, if he criticizes the scriptures, if he criticizes the devotees, any of these offenses will not give result of even their practice of karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. So these offenses are there for all practices. Some of the offenses, they may be exempted. Some of the offenses, they may be exempted, like the 8th offense. They will definitely commit. And the punishment is that they will not get Krishna prem for that. But they will get their compromised goals. Swarga, liberation, Sahyajya Mukti, those kind of attainments they can attain. Like that. Then we came to the 6th question. Okay. You say that a karma yogi or jnana yogi or an ashtanga yogi, because of taking shelter of the karma shastras or jnana shastras or yoga shastras, they will definitely commit offenses, right? Bhakti yogis can go to spiritual world once they give up offenses. Ajamil, from the presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam, from the proof of Srimad Bhagavatam, Ajamil clearly was actually a karma yogi Brahmana. So therefore, how could Ajamil avoid committing the offense, especially the 8th offense? This question arises. So in response to this, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says, yes, what you say is right. He was definitely a karmi Brahmana. He had qualification for karma. He had karma adhikar. But the moment he married that prostitute and started committing sinful actions, immediately his karma adhikar got destroyed. Okay. And along with the karma adhikar getting destroyed, the secondary bhakti, which was supporting that karma, that also got destroyed. Okay. So therefore, very soon, Ajamil became a clean slate. He was an out and out materialistic person. He did not have Karma Yoga Adhikar. He was not following the Dharma Shastras. So he was not following any Shastra for that matter. So therefore, he was a clean slate. So after that, when he named his son Narayana and chanted the name Narayana, that destroyed all his sins, and later subsequent chanting gave rise to bhakti. That is the example. That is the explanation that is given. When his pious karmas were destroyed, his secondary bhakti was also destroyed. Then pure bhakti appeared when he called out the name of his son Narayana. So he became a clean slate in between. That's how he avoided the offenses. But then again, a very important question arises. Look, a karma yogi, a properly practicing karma yogi following the Dharma Shastras, a properly practicing Jnana yogi following the Jnana Shastras, properly practicing Ashtanga yogi following the Yoga Shastras, how can they commit offense? Will the Shastras push a person to commit offenses? This question arises. How can Shastras recommend that someone perform offenses? In response to this, he says, look, These are not authoritative shastras. These are not authoritative for devotees. And devotees do not recognize these dharma shastras, jnana shastras, and yoga shastras to be as bona fide for them to follow. Because shastra means what? Shastra means you should ask the shastras, what is the goal of my life? What is the goal of my life? Okay. Then the shastras will say, Prem, to establish a relationship with Krishna is the goal of your life. Then you ask the shastras, how do I do it? The shastras will say, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. So where do I learn about this? Here, take the Bhakti Shastras. Okay, so you get the Bhakti Shastras because basically you are asking all questions to the scriptures. What is the goal of my life? How do I achieve that goal? Where do I learn about this? Bhakti Shastras. Whereas these people who are Karma Yogis, Jnana Yogis, Ashtanga Yogis who have Adhikar for that, they will not ask the Shastras, what is the goal of my life? They have a preconceived goal of life. The Karma Yogis think, I want to enjoy in this world. So they will come to the Shastras and ask, how can I enjoy in this world? The Shastras will not say, this world is not meant for enjoying. The Shastras will say, okay, you want to enjoy in this world? Take these Dharma Shastras. Follow your Varnashram duties nicely and then lead a pious life you can enjoy. So this Shastra is not accepted as bona fide for a Bhakti Yogi. Because a Bhakti Yogi, his goal is not to enjoy in this world. So a Shastra which guides a person how to enjoy in this world, that Shastra is not accepted as bona fide by a Bhakti Yogi. Right? Or a Jnana Yogi comes to the Shastras and asks, I am fed up with this world. I want to achieve liberation. What do I do? Here, take this Jnana Shastras. If only he had asked, what is the goal of my life? His life would be different. But one will ask that question only if one has that Bhakti Adhikar. So therefore, all these other scriptures are invariably, because the mentality itself is offensive in one sense of the practitioners. So they do some kind of offenses to be committed. So these scriptures are not accepted as bona fide by those who are practitioners of Bhakti. Okay. So, so therefore we saw this. And gradually, so therefore, according to the degree of Bhakti, they attain destruction of offenses. So ultimately, Vaishnava is a person who accepts Bhakti as a pure, who accepts Bhakti purely, Shuddha Bhakti, or at least Pradhani Bhuta as a primary process. He cannot relegate Bhakti to be a secondary process. Then offenses cannot be avoided. Okay. And if he accepts Bhakti as the pure process, then to the extent the offenses are destroyed, to that extent he will come closer to Prema. Yata yatatma parimrujyate sau matpunyagata shravana vidhanaihi tata tata pashyati vastu sokshmam chakshur yataivanjana samprayuktam. This 11th canto verse, Krishna speaking to Uddhava. He says, to the extent you progress in the path of Bhakti and avoid the offenses, to that extent the heart will become purified and you will come closer to attaining the path of Prema. Okay. So therefore, by these statements, it is understood that the persons gradually ascend through the 14 stages. So why are there 14 stages or 9 stages? Okay. So the 9 is expanded to 14 by Shri Vishnu Thakur, but let us say there are 9. Okay. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, and so on. Okay, till Prema. Why there are so many? Because through these 9 stages, there is gradual destruction of anarthas and most importantly offenses. Okay. So, but So when all their offenses are gradually destroyed and they attain the Lord, they are liberated from this world. However, this is a very important statement. For those without offense, attainment of the Lord is quick. Such persons have only two stages: chanting the holy name, attaining Vaikuntha. They chant the holy name, they attain Vaikuntha. Okay. But for that, one should be without offenses. He says, such is the case of Ajamil. So Ajamil's case is a very unique case. There was offenses, but generally this is not the case. Okay. So for those who chant without offenses, there are only two stages: chant the holy name, go to Vaikuntha, especially if they have faith in the holy name. In the case of Ajamil, he did not have faith in the holy name. Therefore, when he chanted the holy name, and then when he, there was some gradual purification. Okay. So, but he says, however, some devotees, even though they may be without offense, but when they desire to attain a special prema, they are delayed in attaining the Lord. The example of Bharat Maharaj is given. Okay. So Bharat Maharaj, even though he had no offenses, but still, the Krishna wanted to teach people particular lessons through Bharat Maharaj. So he did not go back immediately. He took some time to reach that stage. So, so this is where we ended our discussion last time. So till now we have only recapped what we saw till last time. So now I will continue today's discussion, because if I don't do this recap, then I don't think it is very difficult to, because 15 days back we saw, and now not 15, 16 days. So 16 days have passed, and even I don't remember what I spoke 16 days back. So you can say, if you all may have very tremendous sense of memory, but I don't. So for myself, I am just recapping. Okay. So he says, among those devotees having offense, if some, because of not worshipping the Lord properly, do not destroy previous sins and continue to sin and to be offenders, they do not go to hell after leaving this body. So if someone, like sadhakas like us, sadhakas like all of us, right? If we have not yet given up offenses, let's say, some of you may have already given up the offenses. So if, let's say, if we have not given up the offenses, before we perfect bhakti in this lifetime, we give up our body, and we have not given up our sinful tendencies also, we commit some sinful activities, will we go to hell? The answer is no. Okay. As long as you do not give up your devotional practice due to offenses, as long as one does not lose pure devotional faith due to offenses, even if a sadhaka devotee may time and again relapse into sinful life, he will not go to hell for such activities. So here there are many verses that are quoted. Here Yamaraj tells to the Yamadutas, he says, I will directly read the translation because we are running short of time. Yamaraj, seeing his follower with noose in his hands, he's looking at the Yamadutas and he's telling, he says in his ear, do not take devotees surrendered to Madhusudana. I am the master of other men, but I am not the master of the Vaishnavas. So you do not bring them here. Okay. And another, directly from the 6th canto, 3rd chapter also, he says, Te deva siddha parigita pavitra gata, ye sadhava samadrisho bhagavat prapanna, tan nopasya harer gadayavi guptan, naisham vayam nachavaya prabhavama dande. So here he says, do not approach those who have surrendered to the Lord, who see everything equally and who have proper conduct, and who are praised with pure narration by the devatas and siddhas. Since they are protected by the club of the Lord, we, including Brahma and time, do not have power to punish them. So once someone becomes a devotee, he is beyond the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. He is personally taken care of by Krishna. Krishna says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati. Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. Arjuna, you go and loudly proclaim that I will protect my devotee, even though some sinful tendencies may be seen. Apichet suduracharo bhajate ma mananya bhav. Sadhureva samantavya samyak darsito hi saha. Even though some sinful tendencies may be seen, some graveful tendencies may also be seen. But as long as he is committed to worshipping me, I take personal responsibility of making him into a dharmatma. So if I tell this, people will not believe. You go, blow the conch shell and proclaim loudly, my devotees shall never perish. So what does it mean that my devotees shall never perish? So there are, anyways, he is quoting other verses. Yama repeatedly has told us, the Yamadutas are telling, with care, you must leave the Vaishnavas, never bring the Vaishnavas to hell. Like that. So thus, since even the sprout of bhakti is imperishable, okay, you see the usage of the words. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says sprout. Sprout adau shraddha. When one has even preliminary faith in bhakti, even that is imperishable, unaffected by sin and always productive. A person will definitely take birth only in order that bhakti bears leaves and fruit in the future, and not because of temporary sin or piety. When someone has even once taken up to bhakti, his next life will not be decided by karma. His next life is only to facilitate his continuation of practice of bhakti. Okay. And therefore, and you can practice bhakti. You need human life. You need a human form of life to practice bhakti, right? So, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Nrimatrasya adhikarita. One who is a human being can practice bhakti. So, therefore, human birth is guaranteed. Even for a person who starts bhakti, human birth is guaranteed. Even though according to his karma, he may have to take birth as a dog or a hog. So that karma is gone. If someone starts bhakti, human birth is guaranteed, because in order to continue practicing your bhakti, you need a human birth. Okay, so Krishna takes care of at least human birth for sure. Now the question is, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that whatever you remember at the time of death, you will attain that nature. What if a devotee who has not perfected his life, if he remembers his dog at the time of death, what birth will he get in his next life? What do you think? You can type on the chat box and let me know. Please type on the chat box and let me know. If a devotee who has been practicing devotional service, but not so perfectly, but at the time of death, he is still at the stage of anartha nivritti and he thinks of his dog. What birth he will get in the next life? Some people say human birth. Some people say dog in Vrindavan. Okay. Someone says a human birth with a dog-like mentality. Okay. Someone says King Bharat became a deer. Someone says dog. Someone says dog. Other people say Bharat Maharaj. Someone says monkey. Okay. At the human or dog can be understood. How would he become if he is thinking of dog? Why would he become a monkey? At least you can say a dog in Vrindavan. Okay. Fine. See, okay. Anyways, enough. I think only a dog in a devotee's house. Okay. Okay. We can't speculate. Correct. Anyway, I asked you to speculate only. In the sense, guess. Actually, this principle is not applicable to devotees. If someone has practiced devotional service in his next life, he will definitely get a human birth only. Even if he is thinking of a dog at the time of death. So they don't get, because neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayona vidyate, that principle also has to be applied. So if the person has to continue his practice and that has to be facilitated, how would dog birth be useful for that? So, so this principle does not apply to devotees. A devotee by default will get human birth. It is guaranteed. Okay, this principle. So therefore, Bharat Maharaj's case is a very unique case. This was personally orchestrated by the Supreme Lord to teach particular lessons for the sadhaka devotees. Be careful about what you get attached to, for multiple reasons. To increase his prema, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, right? So it is impossible that someone like Bharat Maharaj will get would get a deer birth. It's not at all possible. Actually, this is not the norm. This is a very special case, right? So once Srila Ramanujacharya went to Kanchipurna and he asked the Kanchipurna a few questions, 5-6 questions he asked, and he said, "Can you please ask Varadaraj and get me the answer for these questions?" So one of the questions was, what if a devotee does not remember Krishna at the time of death, but remembers something else? Will he get that birth? Will he get because you, Krishna, you only said yam yam vapi smaranam. So Varadaraj says, oh, that is not for devotees. He says for devotees, antima smriti varjanam. Antima smriti is not mandatory. Antima smriti does not govern the destination or the next birth of a devotee. If a devotee has practiced bhakti, then his next birth is guaranteed human birth, provided he does not commit offenses so much that he gives up bhakti, he loses faith in bhakti only. Then he will again be governed by the principle of yam yam vapi smaran bhava. So yeah. Anyways, okay, let's continue. So his future birth is not governed by temporary sin and piety. Na karma bandhanam janma vaishnavanam cha vidyate. The worshippers of Vishnu do not birth due to karma. This is very clearly mentioned. Thus, after the destruction of sin and offenses by chanting the name, which is caused by impressions of previous bhakti, persons attain the Lord by the mercy of Bhakti Devi. So the sinful sin here refers to vasanas. Okay. The anarthas and offenses. When they gradually get destroyed, finally one attains the Lord by the mercy of Bhakti Devi. So they don't take birth due to karma. So this is mentioned in this very beautiful verse. This is Narada Muni's instructions to Vyasadeva in the first canto. Navai jano jatu katanchana vrajen mukunda sevyanyavad anga samsritim. Smaran mukundangri upaguhanam punar vihatu nichen na rasagrahojana. So he says, the person who is Mukunda Sevi, one who is a servant of Mukunda, Navai Jatu, he will never Katanchana under any condition, Samsritim Ajit, he will return to the material world. Anyavad, a person who serves Mukunda will never return to the material world like others. They will return to the material world by Krishna's arrangement, but they will not return to the material world due to karma. So is next birth there for devotees? Yes. But is that next birth governed by karma? No. The next birth is governed by Krishna's desire to facilitate that devotee's future practice of devotional service. Okay, and that will be in a human birth. No doubt about it. Unless Krishna has some very, very special plan to very quickly enhance the intensity of prema in our heart, like he did in the case of Bharat Maharaj. Okay. So Smaran Mukundangri Upaguhanam. So the Lord creates various facilities for that person to again and again remember his past practice of bhakti so that he can achieve perfection of that, like that. In the above verse, Anyavat means like those practicing karma. The devotee will not attain the world of piety and sin, but will accept the world of happiness and distress given by the Lord. So he will not attain the world of piety and sin. So he will come to the same world he will accept the world of happiness and distress, which is not given by karma, but it is given by the Lord. So for the devotees, we have discussed this in great detail in one or two of the sessions before, if you remember. So he says, Tvad avagami na veti bhavadutta shubha ashubhayoho. So he says that when a person realizes you, he no longer cares about his good and bad fortune arising from past pious and sinful acts, since it is you alone who control this good and bad fortune. Yeah, like that. So okay, so then he says those who have not destroyed offenses to the name will continue to experience the undestroyed effects of the sin, its sinful inclinations. Okay. When by increase of bhakti, by practicing it, the offenses to the name will be destroyed, the root of sin will be destroyed, and the person will immediately attain the Lord. Okay. So, but then, in order to increase the bhakti, those devotees may even take 1, 2, or 3 lifetimes to attain the Lord, like we see in the case of Bharat Maharaj. Okay. The material happiness seen in those devotees arises from the practice of bhakti. It is not karma. Even the material happiness seen in devotees is not due to karma, it is due to bhakti, and he gives some proof for this. I will just skip this. And he says, the suffering seen in those devotees are given by the Lord, who is skillful at increasing the devotion of his devotee, and who is like a doctor who makes up a fast and gives bitter medicine for increasing appetite. So the doctor may sometimes make the person fast. So fasting means deny happiness, and give bitter medicine means give suffering. Okay. The person or the patient is the devotee. The doctor is Krishna. Okay. The doctor is Krishna. So Krishna gives the devotee, sometimes he denies the devotees some happiness, sometimes he gives suffering to the devotees. This is just to increase the appetite of the devotee to come towards him. And he quotes this verse, Yasyaham anugranami harishyeta dhanam shanaihi tato ajanam tajantyasya swajana dukkha dukkitam. Okay. We have discussed this verse also in one of the previous sessions, very great detail. Krishna says, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Okay. But of course, this is not a standard protocol for a devotee, for Krishna. So Krishna does not have standard protocols or very stereotyped ways of helping devotees. It's not that people who are rich, devotees who are rich, they are not the recipients of Krishna's mercy. Okay. So, and it's not the devotees who are poor have abundant mercy of Krishna. This is one way in which Krishna reciprocates, but Krishna's ways of reciprocation are not stereotyped. This just indicates that sometimes Krishna may take away all the wealth in order to show mercy. But this is not a very stereotyped way, and Krishna does not always reciprocate in this particular way. Right? So he says, among the 10 offenses, the very strong effects of interpreting the name, thinking its glories are exaggeration, and equating it to pious acts are obstacles to being a Vaishnava. So Vaishnava means one who accepts bhakti at least in a primary way and does not subordinate it to karma jnana, etc. So he should at least accept it primarily as a primary process and should not subordinate it to karma, jnana, etc. He is a Vaishnava. So, so these offenses are very serious offenses. Interpreting the holy name, thinking the glories of the holy name to be an exaggeration. The fifth and sixth offense, and then the eighth offense. Fifth, sixth, and the eighth offense. Okay, these are very serious offenses, and such a person who is committing these offenses cannot be a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava will not commit these offenses. Okay. Among the other offenses, two are very strong. Okay, one is offending the devotees, which is the first offense, and committing sin on the strength of the holy name, which is the seventh offense. Those two are particularly described in a frightening way. So these are 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8 are very serious offenses. These 5 amongst the 10 offenses. And of course, Guru Avagya, disrespecting a guru. Of course, if one commits the first offense, he will very likely commit the third offense also. Right? Okay. So he says, Yataha kyatim yatam katam usahate tad vigarham. So Padma Puran says, how can they tolerate criticism of those who spread the name? So this is the first offense. Namno baladhyasya hi papa buddhir navidyate tasya yamair hi shuddhi. So this is the seventh offense. Okay, this is the first offense. So Padma Puran criticizes this very seriously. There is no other means of destroying the effects of these two offenses than to continually chant the name while suffering appropriately for the offense. So if you have committed Vaishnava, of course, we have to go fall at the feet of the Vaishnavas, beg for forgiveness, but still we have to suffer the result. So then one may say, then why should I go and fall at the feet? Because if you don't fall at the feet, it is additional aparad. It is additional aparad. In order to avoid additional aparad, you go fall at the feet, beg for forgiveness. But by falling at the feet, the offense of hurting a Vaishnava or criticizing a Vaishnava is not gone. Whatever suffering comes, one has to experience that suffering. So begging for forgiveness and falling at the feet of the Vaishnavas is just to avoid committing other further offenses. Because if we don't apologize, if we don't fall at the feet, it is an additional offense for which we have to double apologize. For which if we don't apologize, it is triple offense. So like that. So the effects of the other offenses will be destroyed simply by continual chanting. So these 5 offenses, if we commit, we have to experience the suffering that comes due to that. But the other offenses, if we continuously chant, those offenses go away. Okay. So some people make the following proposition. Okay. They say, those offenders of the name who are without karma and jnana and practicing bhakti with hearing and chanting, but have not taken initiation because they have not surrendered to the feet of the Guru, are still called Vaishnavas. Some people may say Vaishnavas means Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Deva Asurastad Viparya. So may say one who is a Vishnu Bhakta is a Vaishnava. I am a Vishnu Bhakta. I don't have a Guru, but I am a Vishnu Bhakta. So I should also be considered as a Vaishnava. Some people may say like that. There is no need to accept a Guru. One who is accepted Vishnu, he is a Vaishnava. So someone may, so this is question number, we were discussing which question. Wow. Okay, this is question number 8. This is question number 8 that we are going to discuss now. Okay. Let me write. Our protocol is to write questions in red. Question number 8. Question is, what is the need for Guru? need for Guru if I am anyway worshipping Vishnu. Okay, I am a Vaishnava. Okay, so someone may say, so, oh, such people should also be considered to be Vaishnavas. So, so he says, the word Vaishnava is defined as a person who takes Vishnu as his object of worship according to the Panini Sutras. So, so he says that, so thus the Vaishnavas are those who have made Vishnu the object of worship by accepting initiation, and all those who make Vishnu the object of worship simply by worship, since there is no other word to describe these two types of people. So whether someone accepts initiation or not, no initiation, as long as he is worshipping Vishnu, he should be considered a Vaishnava. So both people should not go to hell. Correct, right? This question arises. So both people should not go to hell because both have accepted Vishnu. What is the problem? Whether they accept Vishnu, whether they accept spiritual master and initiation or not. So in answer to this is not correct, because one cannot attain the Lord easily without Guru. Nritehamadyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadaram mayanukulena nabasvate kuman bhavabdyam nataret saatmaha. Krishna tells Uddhava in the 11th canto. One who has attained a human birth, his human body is like a well-crafted boat, and the Guru is like the captain of that boat. So one should accept a Guru. That is critical. Therefore, it should be explained that there is no other way of attaining the Lord than by becoming a devotee who has surrendered to the feet of a Guru, who will be attained in another birth by the power of worship. So, and elsewhere it says, look, Vaishnava means one who worships Vishnu and avoids offenses. To disobey the orders of the Guru is an offense. Okay. If to disobey the orders of a Guru is an offense, to not accept a Guru must be a much more serious offense, isn't it? So, so therefore, one should not say that even a person who worships Vishnu but has not accepted a Guru should be considered as a Vaishnava. So, such a person cannot escape hell. Now, there is the next important question. This is question number 9. But it is seen that Ajamil, without surrendering to Guru, easily attained the Lord. So he said, so someone may say, you have fallen into your own trap. You are making this point in the episode, while describing the episode of Ajamil. Ajamil himself did not accept any Guru. But Ajamil attained the Lord. How do you explain this? So he says, okay, there is an explanation. Answer. He says, this can be explained as follows. Those who, like cows or asses, make their senses pursue sense objects cannot know the Lord, Bhakti or Guru even in their dreams. Those are abject sense gratifiers, by themselves cannot understand Bhakti. But as in the case of Ajamil, they can be delivered even without Guru by chanting the name in Namabhas without offense. So in the case of Ajamil, he chanted Namabhas without an offense, but not everyone can do it. So this is a very special case. Though it has been definitely ascertained that the Lord should be worshipped, that worship is the means of attaining him. That the Guru is the person who teaches about that worship, and that those who are devotees attain the Lord. It is also said, no diksham nacha satkriyam nacha purascharya managikshate mantroyam rasana sprig eva falati Shri Krishna namatmakah. It is mentioned that Shri Krishna's holy chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the purascharya vidhi. Generally the principles which are to be followed before taking initiation. Okay. So there are verses like this which say initiation is not necessary. The holy name itself is powerful. Okay. So this is for those who are in principle not against accepting a guru. I want to accept a guru. I very much believe that without a guru, I cannot attain perfection. But for some reason, the physical performance or the ceremony of initiation could not happen. Let's say the spiritual master passes away or the disciple passes away before taking initiation, before the physical act of initiation. So in such cases, the holy name will work because the initiation happens the moment the devotee accepts the spiritual master within his heart. Okay, but for those who are not convinced that I don't need initiation, I don't need a guru, holy name is good enough, such people will not get. Okay, that's what he says. As well, we have the example of Ajamila. But one who thinks, what is the benefit of taking the trouble to accept Guru? I will attain the Lord just by chanting the name. He will not attain the Lord because of the offense of offending the Guru. This is the third offense. However, in this life or another life, if he surrenders to the feet of Guru after destroying his offenses, he will attain the Lord. Okay. So we are almost towards the end. Give me just few more minutes. So some say that the persons who worship the devatas should be treated like karmis with sin and offense. Others say that Bhakti Devi places them even lower category because they do not have general surrender. So he gives further understanding about the offenses here. Okay. So some say that demigod worshippers should be treated just like karmis. Some others say no, not even karmis. They should be put even less than that. But for those who are sin offenders, there is no deliverance from hell. Those who are deliverance at all. It is said, Nanaham Dushyata Kruran Samsareshu Naradaman Shipam Yajasram Ashubam Asuri Shvevayonishu. So one who are offenders, there is no deliverance at all. So the demigod worshippers do not even care Vishnu to be the supreme. So the second offense, they will definitely, and they will not chant the holy name. So there are many offenses which they can potentially commit. But those who are habitual atheistic Mayavadi type offenders, they will go to hell for sure. But some persons also say that those offenses are destroyed by absorption in the Lord. So if someone are serious offenders, but if they have very serious absorption in the Lord, then by the power of that absorption, they can also be delivered. And then he quotes this verse from the 7th canto. Narada Muni is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Aveshya tadagam hitva bhavas tadgatim gataha. Of course, this has to be described in detail. Maybe some other time we will describe that. So this idea is represented in verses as the following. Nama parada yuktanam namanyeva harantyagam. Avishranti prayuktani tanyeva artakarani cha. So if even one may be an offender, but if he is able to continuously meditate on Krishna, chant the holy names, he can be delivered. Of course, we will discuss on this topic a little later. Okay. Anyways, so this okay. Anyways, I will have to give some time for some discussion. If the discussion is over, I have just pictorially put the whatever we have discussed, this whole purport, in the form of a chart, and I have given titling to it so that what we have discussed elaborately, it's very quickly summarized. So if the Q&A session gets over early, and if devotees have time, then I will go over, the quick summary of that, of whatever we have discussed. I will summarize it towards the end, if devotees have time. Okay. So So okay. So at this point of time, we can take questions. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam to you all, glories to Srila Prabhupada. What an amazing class, Prabhu, again. Everybody's just, I think, ready with questions, so I'll not take any further time because you said you have this chart and you can explain more. So we'll just go right to the question. Tiffany Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Balaram Shakti Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have several questions, but I think what I'll do is just maybe ask a couple, and if I can maybe send you a WhatsApp message or something on the others, because I want to give up everyone else a chance to ask as well.
Yes, Mother, whatever pleases you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much for giving such thorough classes. I always feel like you go so much deeper into a subject than we can ever expect. So my first question, oh boy, which one? Okay. So one of the things that you mentioned in class that sometimes the holy name chooses not to give its fruits immediately because someone has offensive tendency. But then you also said, but before, you also said that chanting the holy name removes the tendency. That's why we don't do prayaschitta. So I got confused there.
Gradually.
Okay, gradually. Okay, thank you. Oh, good. That was a quick answer. Okay, and then my second one is that you also mentioned that Ajamila, in that, I think you called it like when he had a clean slate in that in-between time when he married the prostitute, that his secondary bhakti was destroyed.
Yeah.
But I thought that bhakti is never destroyed. Anytime we practice any bhakti that we do, it's eternal. And so I got confused there.
No, that is primary. Secondary bhakti has different rules.
Okay. So maybe that's one of the things I'll message you about. And then I'll message you. Okay, because my last question is I think it has a very long answer. And I don't want to take up too much time, but thank you so much for such a beautiful, beautiful class. I'm so grateful for your service always. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Hari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Prabhuji, one small question that you might have mentioned in the session, but I'm not sure. But I would like to once again reconfirm this, that majority of devotees whom I see or whom I know, or even myself maybe, that they fall into a platform where they wanted to remove the offenses, but after some time they try for some time. Over the years they become lazy. They stop struggling. They become very normal. They think it's a daily activity, so they tend to go in a mechanical state after some time. So can you please explain that what is the situation of those devotees, because they're not trying themselves to remove from the offenses. Will they become materialistic after some time, or will they become they go to Shuddhanam? Where are their state? Can you please explain about these things?
They will certainly not attain Shuddhanam, because how Shuddhanam, I will just write it. Okay. So the first thing is, I am talking just about, the kind of offensive chanting, of the atheists. Okay. Is like, they don't even know it is an offense. Okay. So this is like unconscious incompetence. They are incompetent, but they are not even conscious of it. Unconscious incompetence. Okay. But the kind of offensive chanting that the devotees do, this is conscious incompetence. We are conscious of our offenses, but due to lethargy, laziness, we are not able to give it up. But the third stage of namabhas, okay, I'm talking about chaya namabhas, which the devotees attain. This is the stage of conscious competence. Conscious competence means if we are attentive, if we are conscious, we will be able to give up the offenses. If we become lethargic, we will regress back to offensive. So this namabha stage is like, if you are attentive, you will be able to. The moment we become inattentive, it can regress back. It is like an equilibrium reaction. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it can happen. So namabhas is not a very stable state. So if we are conscious, we will be competent. If the moment we become unconscious, we can regress back. But if somehow or other, due to good association, good hearing and chanting with proper determination, if we fight, then slowly we may come to the stage of Shuddhanam. So Shuddhanam is the stage of unconscious competence. Even without consciously trying to avoid offenses, the nature of offending only has gone. So naturally he need not offend. So talking about people at this stage 2, who are struggling with offenses, but they become lethargic. So if they become okay with their incompetence, they will remain incompetent only. They will never become competent to reach the stage of Shuddhanam. And on top of that, if their practice of bhakti is not strong enough to counteract the offenses that they are committing, if they are committing serious offenses, and while practicing meager bhakti, then they may regress so much that they may go outside the realm of pure devotional service only. They may lose the faith in pure devotional service. So yes, what you say is correct.
I think Prabhu was muted because of the background noise.
Yeah. Hari Prabhu, is that okay?
Prabhu, thank you very much. It was really clear. Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhu message.
Next.
Komodaki Mataji, our senior devotee, please.
Yes, Komodaki Mataji, please go ahead. Can you unmute her again, Komodaki Mataji? Mataji, you can unmute yourself.
Mataji is a little. Yeah. I tried to unmute her, Prabhuji. I don't know. Kaumandaki Mataji, can you please unmute yourself? No.
Okay, maybe we'll get
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to find.
Yeah. Okay, I think multiple people are unmuting. So what we will do is I will only unmute. Okay.
Okay,
others, please don't unmute. I'll unmute. Okay. Kamodaki Mataji, please go ahead. I will unmute you now. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak now. Kamodaki Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept my
Prabhupada and Vishnu Maharaj. I was kind of thinking about, the Kamsa and all this. They were constantly thinking of Krishna because he's going to come and kill me. So it's not favorable, but still, is there any gain for him?
Yeah. So This is how the seventh canto starts. That Yudhishthir Maharaj is very astonished to see that how is it that Shishupal, who was offending Krishna so much, how could he get liberated? But Vena, who also offended the Supreme Lord, he went to hell. So where is this equality? And why is Krishna allowing offenders to attain liberation? So this question was asked. So a long discussion. In essence, Narada Muni said, here Shishupal was not rewarded for his offense. Shishupal was rewarded for his absorption in Krishna. So whereas Vena, in the case of Vena was an offender, and at the same time he was self-absorbed. He was absorbed in himself. So therefore Vena was punished for his offense. If Shishupal was not an offender, then he would have attained Krishna Prem. Of course, Shishupal's case is different. He is Jaya Vijay only. So therefore, for ordinary people, they cannot be so offensive with complete absorption in Krishna. That is very rare. So it's a very rare case. So generally, people will not be you can say benefited for being critical of Krishna, but you can muster that kind of tremendous absorption, then it's possible. But generally people are self-absorbed. So because they are self-absorbed, their criticism of Krishna will give you only punishment and no reward. Is that okay, Mataji?
He was completely absorbed, but he was not.
But Shishupal's case is different. Shishupal was completely absorbed in Krishna, so therefore he was rewarded for that. But Vena was not. Vena was absorbed to Krishna, but he was absorbed in himself, so he went to hell because of that.
I was asking about the Kamsa. Kamsa was also, he was also.
He was also completely absorbed in Krishna. He was also rewarded.
The same.
He was personally killed by Krishna. So anyone who is personally killed by Krishna at least get liberation.
I forgot about. I was just thinking about that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Mother Gail.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I too I have a million questions, but I'm torn because I also want you to review that chart about the faithless chanting and the chaya. And let me tell you, today it was like I was in a forest. I was completely lost. But and I didn't remember you talking about all those different categories of namabas, and that slide I was completely lost. But anyway, the question that I have is one of them is going back to a question I asked you for last time, but I didn't feel like I really got the answer. When Parikshit Maharaj, he brought up the fault with Prayaschitta, but he let bhakti slide, right? So my question is, why didn't he even at least bring it up to Shukadeva Goswami?
Because he knew that because he knew that tendency only gradually goes and definitely goes in the case of bhakti. But in the case of Prayaschitta, he knew that even with the passage of time, it does not go because the process itself is incapable of addressing that problem.
Because you said the passage of time is incapable of addressing.
In Prayaschitta, the process of Prayaschitta, even with passage of time, is incapable of addressing the problem of the sinful desires. But Parikshit Maharaj, because he himself was a devotee, he knew that the process is capable in due course of time addressing it. That's why he didn't allow it to slide, but he knew exactly that it is capable in future. So that's why he didn't raise the issue.
But he also knew the answer for, I mean, then why did he even bring up Prayaschitta? He knew the answer for that too. If knowing
That's why he was surprised that how could Shukadeva Goswami even suggest Prayaschitta? Because Shukadeva Goswami was testing. He was testing Parikshit Maharaj, and the very fact that Parikshit Maharaj opposed, he passed the test.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is you were saying that the holy name destroys even vasanas, right? So
eventually.
Yeah. So if this is the case, maybe the eventually is the answer, but so then what is the question of the inertia of conditioning, forcing the devotee to act when the vasanas, which is the conditioning, is destroyed?
Eventually, gradually. Till then, the fan will keep moving.
So when a person chants the holy name just once, right? The vasanas, I thought you said that they're immediately destroyed. Everything is destroyed. No?
For an offenseless person, it is immediately destroyed.
Okay, for the offender, it's a gradual.
Gradually destroyed. Yeah.
Okay, and then Krishna, we often hear this thing, as you were saying, Krishna takes away everything for that struggling devotee. He takes away everything, but at the same time, it's not a stereotype. So why is it declared as if to say it is a stereotype?
It is not.
But why is it said like this? Like
I don't know. I don't say it like that.
But can't we find reference for this very popular statement in the Shastra somewhere? For the sincere devotee, Krishna takes away.
Oh, it is that is reference. So this is one way in which Krishna bestows mercy. But this is not a stereotype, because you do see in great devotees' lives in Bhagavatam also, they have struggled, they have become prosperous, they have become poor, they have gone through all kinds of situations. So Krishna's reciprocation with the devotees, even in the sea, has never been stereotyped. So, Dhruva Maharaj, Krishna showed him mercy by giving a lot of things. Sudama, he showed his mercy by giving him all the wealth. To some people, he does it by taking away that wealth. So this is so that verse is just to show that don't see material reversals as lack of mercy. In order to make that point, that verse is mentioned. You should not see material reversals as necessary lack of mercy. Krishna can show mercy through material reversals also, but that is not compulsory. That's not a stereotyped way in which Krishna actually reciprocates with devotees.
Okay, very good, very good. And then Bharat Maharaj's case is not at all typical. It's a very special case.
It's a very special case. Yeah.
So that case was shown. Is the main point that we should never get slack?
Yeah, that is one of the reasons. Never get slack. You never know when Maya will strike. That's the point.
Okay, the last thing is this question that we've brought up repeatedly about why we should not aspire for Ajamil's type of chanting. I think the answer to that was when I got embroiled in that forest of that slide. So I don't know. I think maybe I have to just listen to the whole, well, I'm going to listen to the whole class again anyway, but I think maybe to answer this question, I don't know if you have to repeat the whole class for me to get the answer.
Yeah, it will take some time, but
Okay.
we will take some more questions, and maybe maybe in another class I will go over that slide because anyway we are going to I think before the Ajamil section gets over, I will be giving at least 4 or 5 other sessions. In one of the sessions, I will go over that chart once more.
Please. Thank you.
Because we will be discussing about holy name till at least the Ajamil session gets over.
Yeah, that slide wanted a class all by itself. Really.
Yeah, maybe we will try to do something.
Anyway, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. Balaram Prasad Prabhu.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Guru Srila Prabhupada and Guru and Gauranga.
Yes.
So one thing I was appreciating is what a system of Krishna, that the tracking system of Krishna is very, very complex. Who does what? Who doesn't do anything? What kind of tracking he has? As a sitting in the super soul, he has to track whether the karmis or the devotees and everything in the world. And how can he decide the next birth based on and accordingly? It's very, very complex. That when you're explaining, I was thinking about it. Very, very complex.
Yeah.
It's inconceivable to understand how Krishna can do it. And then the top of it, there are a lot of hopes you gave us in the class today. That's last time I was kind of little bit, it was tough, but yeah, there are a lot of hopes definitely in this class. The holy name can do anything for that matter. Harer Namaiva Kevalam, based on the Kevalastakam, I was remembering that how the Kevalastakam can relate to this class. So my one small question, Prabhu. In spite of everything, people in ISKCON, they have advanced. They have come to a stage of sannyasi. And then there is, we always hear a news of fall down. So, the Maya can, as you said, Bharat Maharaj, he's giving just give an example of Bharat Maharaj that, Maya can attack anytime. Even in the advanced stage, that can attack, you're right. But what will be the destiny and fate of those persons who are uplifted? They are uplifted so many devotees, they have so many disciples, but they fall down. What will be their fate, Prabhu?
Krishna will protect them. Krishna will give them the next opportunity, and they will progress depending on their sincerity. So Krishna said, there is no fall down for a devotee. As long as we call it fall down, but in reality, it is not fall down. Falling down from sannyas is not fall down. Falling down from devotion service is fall down. So they may not, just because they may give up sannyas, that's not necessarily mean that they have given up devotional service. And as long as one does not devotional service, it's not considered as a fall down.
So in that another question on the top of it, Prabhu. When Krishna is not, he is still accepting, then ISKCON as an organization, they will say, you cannot do anything, you cannot come to ISKCON. So why is it so? Right? If that is the case.
No one says, see, unless someone starts speaking some deviant philosophy or something like that.
Okay.
Just because there are so many devotees who have given up sannyas, they have not left ISKCON. I mean, I don't think that is true at all. I mean, if someone takes up to some deviant philosophy, something like that, then it may be something. But otherwise, just because someone not follow his sannyas vows, you cannot be a sannyasi. But you cannot be a part of ISKCON.
You can follow, and you can still. It's always welcoming, right? Prabhupada never said that. So he's still compassionate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Maybe I have some thoughts about it, but anyway, that's a clarity. It's clear now. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Lalitangi Radha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranams. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the very, very brilliant class.
So my question is about Ajamila was sinful and he caused pain to other living entities by plundering and doing other things. So is there a possibility that he could have done to Vaishnavas also, and was that considered? Because generally a sinful person tends to do commit offenses not only against karmis but also could there be devotees in that?
Yeah. If ifs and buts are always possible, but we do not know for sure. But what we know for sure is Vishwanath Jagadakur says there was no offenses in the case of Ajamil. So which means he did not. Maybe he was lucky, whatever. But it is possibility is there. 0.0001% possibility only, but nevertheless it is probability only. It is not for sure. So yeah, so it is. Vishwanath Chakadagur says that there was no offense, so we understand that there was no offense. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. And the follow-up question is that, so generally a pious person, that means that he gets the opportunity to get into bhakti more than a sinful person. Can we conclude like that?
No.
Yeah, can you
because
explain?
a pious person, because with material piety, it has nothing to do with it is like you have $1,000 in your hand, and you get stuck up in an Adivasi village in India, where there is no currency exchange. So you may have $1 million in your hand, but no rupees. So there is no utility of that $1 million. If you are hungry, you cannot purchase anything. So material piety is like that. So whereas a sinful person, he may not be a millionaire, but he may have just 10 rupees. But if that is in rupee form, he can still purchase something and eat. So material piety and bhaktionmukhi sukriti are two different things. So but having taken up to bhakti, after taking up to bhakti, through accumulation of agyat sukriti or bhaktionmukhi sukriti, if someone has lived a pious life before, a lot of those pious inclinations can be dovetailed in Krishna consciousness subsequently, later, after taking up to bhakti. But to take up to bhakti, will piety help? No. Not necessarily, because you do see many pious people not taking up to bhakti, and many impious people taking up to bhakti.
Right.
So this is contrary to our pratyaksha pramana also. So material piety has nothing to do with someone taking up to bhakti. No. And that will actually challenge the ahituki nature of bhakti also. Bhakti is not caused by any material thing. So if piety becomes the cause of bhakti, then the ahituki nature of bhakti will be challenged. So this is not true.
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the brilliant answers. And we don't have words. So one more question is that, so what you're reading in the slides, is it exactly Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport and in Sanskrit, and you have translated in English?
His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj has translated in English. This is his translation.
Oh, very nice, Prabhuji. Without those questions in between, we wouldn't even know what is he saying, why is he saying. So we cannot make sense of it at all. But because you're pausing and asking questions and trying to bring it down to our level or bring us to that level, it's very, very, very useful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you is not the word, but
Thank
really
you.
you're nourishing the bhakti creeper. Thank you so much.
I am nourishing my own bhakti creeper. Thank you. Hare
Krishna.
Asha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. My question was that for the offender devotee, all the sins will be destroyed gradually, you said. Just wanted
Sinful
to
inclinations, sinful inclinations. Sins will be destroyed immediately.
Sins will be destroyed
immediately.
Okay.
Sinful tendencies.
Okay.
That will gradually go away.
That will gradually go away. Okay, my second question was that if there is someone who has undoubted and desireless love for Krishna, being a sinful person physically, and there is no room now for doing any offenses because of the Lord's remembrance, what is what about the person's prayashchitta? Like, does it go by gradually, or will it be accepted by Lord, or how is it like? Just wanted to know on that.
He may not be committing offenses now, but some residue of past offenses, it will take its own time to go away, even though if he has stopped committing offenses. So once that residue also goes away, then he will immediately attain Krishna prayer.
Okay, and what is the definition of offenses? Like, if you say offenses, what is the definition? Is there any offenses like your higher level,
10
lower
offenses.
level?
Yeah, we just discussed this today. Of the 10 offenses, 5 were mentioned to be very critical. Other 5 are not so critical like that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prahlad Anand Prabhu.
Thank you very much for allowing to ask this question, Prabhuji. My question is, despite all your flowcharts and despite me being a physician, I could not diagnose my position except that I'm doing offensive chanting for so many years. And I have no hope, and I have no hope that I'll attain Suddha Bhakti in this lifetime, which is not more than about 10-15 years from now. So my question is that if I continue chanting like this, whatever, offenses I'm committing and all that, one thing I understand is that I'll get a human form of life, that's for sure. And is there any chance of my, getting Suddha Prem in few next life? I mean, about 2-3 lifetimes of human form of life. Is there any possibility like that? Because I have full Shraddha in her holy name that, and I exclusively devote to it. But still I have this doubt. So that was
as long as we scrutinizingly try to root out the offenses, that because to chant the holy name means to also try to please Krishna, means to not hurt those people who are giving pleasure to Krishna also, or to not commit those activities that are displeasing to Krishna. So we cannot feed Krishna with one hand and take a needle and prick Krishna with the other hand. So we may say that, I prepared the most exquisite preparations for Krishna to please him, but with other hand, if I am pricking Krishna, so Krishna will not be pleased. So therefore we should endeavor to make the most exquisite offering to feed to Krishna, at the same time ensure that we are not pricking Krishna with the needle. So endeavor to avoid offenses is very, very, very critical to actually overcome the stage of Aparad Nam and come to Namabhas, and then eventually Shuddha Nam, Bhavanam, Prema Nam.
Could I be staying in the material world with a Suddha Prem also? Because I don't want to go to Vaikuntha Lokara. I just want to stay here and, continue preaching and, help others to get Harinam. That's what I desire. Internally, I don't want to go there. So why to go there here? Everybody is suffering, myself suffering, and I got some medicine, Bhaurog. So why not continue hearing like that?
If that's your desire, Krishna can reciprocate in that desire.
That's what I wish. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for that input. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Purushottam Prasad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandatna. Thank you so much. And one more enlightening class. Prabhuji, a small clarification regarding piety will not cause bhakti. That's clear. But whatever this context which Krishna says, Esham tvanta gatam papam, jananam punya karmanam. So what is the context that Krishna refers there?
Okay. Let's see, Prabhu. So I will write on the what, Prabhu?
728.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So here I will just write that verse. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. Te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrataha. So here he says Esham tu antagatam papam. So papam can mean sinful activities. Okay. Papam can also mean sinful reactions. Okay. Papam can also mean sinful inclinations.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Punya karmanam, the word punya karma can mean pious activities. Okay. Or it can mean pleasing activities.
Okay.
These are the two meanings Acharyas give. Okay. So, te dvandva moha nirmukta, they over such people. So the literal meaning means one who has put an end to papa by punya, they can overcome the dvandva and bhajante mam dridavrata. Okay. They can worship me firmly. Okay. So now if you take punya karma to be pious activities, by performing pious activities, sinful activities, sinful reactions will certainly not go away, because by punya karma you will get, by performing pious acts you will get punya karma, but that will not extinguish papa karma. These are two different accounts.
Agreed. Okay.
Right. And sinful inclinations will also not go away.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you say that by performing pious activities, the sinful activities, when it goes away, then one can practice bhakti. This is not what this verse says.
Yes.
So here the verse means Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. Here punya karmanam means pleasing activities. Activities which are very pleasing to Krishna and the devotees. Here it means bhakti.
Bhakti. Yes. That's what.
Okay.
Got it.
So antagatam papam refers to sinful inclinations. Okay. And sinful reactions and everything. And then he says, only when this goes, he does not say mam bhajante. He says mam bhajante dridavrata. Dridavrata bhajan means fixed practice.
Maybe it is in Nishta stage, Prabhu. Nishta stage. Nishta.
Yeah, this indicates Nishta.
Okay.
Okay. So what it means is, so basically this verse says punya karma leads to destruction of papa. Okay. And this leads to dridavrata bhajan.
That means that person has already overcome the delusion of duality, isn't it?
Yeah. So what it means is that,
please.
This essentially means this essentially means bhajana kriya leads to anartha nivritti. Antagatam papam refers to anavritti. Dridhavrata bhajan leads to nishta. So bhajana kriya leads to anartha nivritti and anartha nivritti leads to nishta. That's what this verse is talking.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, bro. Clear. Wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, one last question, maybe Mother Gail.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just need to follow up on this piety and bhakti discussion. Well, for one thing, just now when you said that piety or punya leads to the destruction of pap, right?
I didn't say. I said it does not.
Oh,
I said it does
that's
not.
what you said. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, my main question was, you know, I understand that material piety does not cause bhakti, but isn't it true that for a person, let's say a person is a karmakandi, right? And because of that, they might be having so many sadhus, you know, they might associate with so many sadhus, and by that association, they have increased opportunity to perform, let's say, a gyatu sukriti. So it just seems that although material piety does not cause bhakti, it seems like it can create a more conducive environment for bhakti to occur.
Yeah, but that is true. But sadhus will not necessarily approach only a person who is pious. Sadhus may approach a person who is impious also.
Yes,
and a sadhu need not be dressed like a sadhu, and he may not necessarily speak devotional language also. He may just share some prasadam or something in a way which is appealing even to impious people. So therefore, see, I don't say, I'm not telling piety has no effect, but it does not certainly cause bhakti. And also, if he approaches, if someone is very pious, okay, and if he's a karmakandi, then if he approaches the sadhu for some material benediction, then he will not get any agyat sukriti by that.
No.
He will not get. So that way, whereas an impious person, he has no expectation from a sadhu. Without any expectation, he may go, and if he even gets a fruit or some prasadam and he accepts it, he gets agyat sukriti, because he has accepted it without any expectation, without any spiritual expectation. Whereas the pious person may approach that sadhu and ask for some material benediction. So if he asks for material benediction, then he will not get any agyat sukriti for that.
Right.
So you cannot really say that is, yeah.
Anyway, it just seems like I understood, and I agree with all that you said. I just, it just also seems that it does put a person, or it can put a person in a, in a more, like, it's easier to study in a library than in an amusement park type thing,
True, I agree this point, but provided we are here talking about, I don't deny it, Mataji. The first thing is, he should first get the desire to study. So we are talking about how does one get the desire to study. So then we can think about, whether we are sitting in the library or whatever. So if two people get the desire to study, the one who is sitting in a library has the better ambience to study. But we are talking about, but what about people who have no desire to study? So that's what we are talking about here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that the karmakandi who who invites sadhu to his home, right? He's not looking for bhakti. He's not looking for that. But even if he's looking for some kind of material thing, right? But the sadhu, he is eager to give opportunity to any and everybody for devotional service. So, because that sadhu is in association with this karmakandi, he has, that opportunity will be there.
Yeah, I don't deny that. But even for that person to in the sadhu and accept that sadhu to be bona fide, it needs some level of sukriti actually. It's not just piety. Because appreciating a sadhu for his spiritual potential also needs some level of sukriti.
Of spiritual sukriti.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu, I gotta think about it. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much. I don't think we have time for the summary, but please do not worry. I maybe summarize it some other time. Yeah, someone is asking, will I be sharing the PPT? Yes, every time I share the PPT. So it will be posted in the Bhakti Sangha Japa group. So in short time. So yeah. So thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. So we will pause here and then continue this discussion. No, not continue, whatever next opportunity I get, we will most likely it will be on Tamil section only. But if something is left over, I will try to connect how and complete it next time. So thank you very much. And if you have any further questions, maybe next time take, because I have another class in another 45 minutes. So I apologize. Thank you very much.
Please don't apologize, Prabhu. Please bless us. You gave us so much time all the time, Prabhu. Like it's like 2 hours and a half. So we all know you have so many classes and your things to do too. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for giving all your time to all of us. Thank you for your services. Thank you for coming on the call, Prabhu. And thank you for a beautiful class, amazing class. And thank you for the question answer session, Prabhu, too. Thank you for all your time. So dear devotees, let us pray our obeisances to Prabhuji. Prabhuji is getting late for another class too. So we can take the next questions next time, please. Thank you so much. Pancha kalaptaru bhaishya kripa sindhu bhaivacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ji ki jai. His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhu ji ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you,
so much,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Thank you so much,
Thank you all the
Prabhuji.
devotees for attending Bhagavatam class. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the recap. It was very, very important, necessary. Hare Krishna.
I think devotees are unable to mute, I think. So that's why.
Yes, Prabhuji. Unfortunately for me,
Yes.
I'm
Mega
on the
Mataji is
mobile
confirming
device.
that.
Yeah, on mobile, I cannot change the options. I think
Okay.
Prabhuji said that.
No problem. No
Okay.
problem.
Hare Krishna. We'll end the call
Hare
here.
Krishna.